Here we go. Let me tell you my story of my porn addiction. How it all began. Part 1.
First gaze, I forgot my worst days. It was Thursday, felt like my birthday. It was her day. Meet the man from Jersey. Where you from?
What's up, guys? Piece of the Puzzle here, and I hope this piece gives you peace. Yes, we're back. You're back. Glad you're here. Could have been anywhere, but you chose to be watching this for your self-elevation. All right? Piece of the Puzzle is a platform to get pieces of revelation and insight that we all can share with one another, and revelation from God to help us get pieces to our bigger picture. All right? So I was sharing last week that I'm going to go after a certain group of people, which is a lot of people pertaining to a certain dependency, which is porn dependency. Porn addiction, you might understand it. And the one thing I want you to understand is your love. This is not something that you're ashamed of, thinking people are going to look down on you, thinking there's no answer, think you by yourself. So I want to put myself out there and give you my story, how it all began. I shared it before, I'm share it again. So I can let you know you're not by yourself. And the things you might experience or things you experience, you'd be surprised how many people experience the same thing right next door. All right. So I was a young star, and it all started when I was 9 to 8 years old, 8 to 9, right? And I remember at that juncture, we was just looking at magazines, like, the kids' neighborhood, they'll have them in the woods, and there was a certain spot I go to, and I knew it was a magazine. I looked at it. It was just women. Not the guys, just the women, legs open and whatever. And that was my first experience, the magazine, right? We used to always go to the store to go, around the corner. It's now called Quick Plus. We used to go to a store and to buy candy, this and that, whatever. But on the shelf where the magazines were, the ones at the top, they would have like cardboard in front of them, or like brown paper to hide what those things were. And then I used to always see like, oh, that's something that ain't supposed to see. So when a man wasn't looking, I used to always grab it, look real quick, put it back. The other thing I used to do was to go to the library. We used to always go to the library a lot of times, Cumberland Regional Library. And when we went there was a little magazine, and there would be the beauty of the week in the middle of the magazine. And we used to always see who the beauty of the week was every week. Go to the library, and she would have us a black woman that have some type of bikini, sex appeal, and a little story that went along with it, why she was beauty of the week and all that good. And that's just the light. One day, and these stories come with lessons. And right now, I want you to subscribe, hit the bell so you won't miss no more stories and all help and more insight from Piece of the Puzzle here. And in the description, you will see 2 books, 2 links to buy my 2 books, Volume 1, Volume 2, Piece of the Puzzle. Let's talk about it. Sex. And then there's another for women or everybody to learn more what God intended. Women are not queens. It's pertaining to women and who you really are. All right. So get that and understand that I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you. I want to be here for you. So this what happened. So basically, remember we was down the street. This would be a group of our friends, whatever. And these 2 individuals, Mike and Chris, they had a house down the street. And Isaac was one, but my older brother best friend was Isaac. We had Sean that lived down and all that good stuff, whatever. Not all these people went there, but I'm just naming people that lived in the neighborhood that we was all cool and everything like that. And I remember we all got like an invite to christen them. Like, man, come over. So we came over there. It was during the daytime. It was in their living room. Popped the tape. It was all around the screen. Boom. Porn. Black man, white woman, and all I know, I was sitting there. Whoa. One thing that Satan does, and one thing evil does, push something on you way before your time. I don't care. It's something I learned from Pastor McCoy. Is he'll push credit on you. He'll push something you're not supposed to have or experience. And this is something I was already exposed to. But I was a kid that liked to have fun. But pictures was one thing. It was still, you can only imagine it's the picture of vagina and whatever. But this was a video. This was new. This was like, what is going on? At whatever case is mine. This is now me learning about sex. This is how my foundation was. This is where I began. to learn about sex. And it was only a few minutes. We only been in the house for a few minutes, and I forgot what happened for us. So we cut it off, and then we just dispersed. And we went to play basketball and whatever, go see, whatever things we did in the neighborhood, right? And then, we all this group of kids play hide and go seek, rode our bikes. There's a lot of things we just did as kids. So that was that part. Right, and it was like I just forgot about it, and I remember then I actually wanted what it looked like for real, this and third, whatever. So me being 9 and other, then this is now me learning how boys act towards women, and this is my first visualizing women are being sexually objectified is now reshaping. But me being raised by a single mom, I always had respect. I never called a girl B. There was only one time I did that, real pissed off moment, and I was in my early 20s, and I even felt bad when I did it. But the basic thing is regular kid, you know what I mean? Then we moved to the woods. Like, we had no neighbor. This is when my brother was rapping a little bit. He taught me how to rap a little bit. Looked up to my brother, how he was in hip hop. He exposed me to DOS Effects. He exposed to a lot of like Far Side, Nas, AZ. Like, my brother was into rap on the lyrics side. So he exposed me to hip hop. And I'm grateful for exposing me because he liked it. Thus, that was my experience of liking something too. All right. It was in the woods, bored. But there's no computers. Where's no store with no magazine? This and third, whatever. Now what? So I did the next best thing. When we went to go get movies from Blockbuster or West Coast Video, got them for 3 days. Y'all remember that? At the Nintendo, you had 3 days to play that bad boy. If you ain't beat it, you had to go get it again, or it sucks to be you. But we got movies. And the one thing that was very, 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 very acceptable is the sex scenes in the movies. Yeah, when we watched them, our mom used to make us close our eyes, or we get up and walk out and it's over, come back and sit down and watch the rest of the movie. But me, late night, I'll go back at the movie, turn the volume all the way down, press play, and I used to fast forward to the scenes. So not masturbating yet, watching. These scenes was my porn, because I was exposed to what it was, and then I saw these, and that's how I go. The other thing that I used to do, we had a little cable, but we didn't have every single channel, but we used to have the channel where the squiggly little lines, but we heard what they did, but we couldn't see, and try to see if there was a nipple, or trying to see whatever, and if I could find something to show you what I'm talking about, as far as squiggly lines, I try to put on here, but it was staticky, but it was something, but it was the noise, the sound that was heard, and then the movement in the squiggly lines, and I used to sit there and try to focus, to make up the picture in my mind, my focus, my driven to see this porn again. All right. The other thing, as we got older, movies, and there was that, and that's how it came to be. And then every once in a while, tapes would be somewhere found by different individuals. I'll put it that way. And it was hard to actually get to. So what happened? My thing is, we kept going to school. We go to school, everybody had this is elementary school. Everybody told their story. I'm talking about 4th grade. Everybody had their stories of them being with girls and like, you know what I'm saying, them ejaculating, what it felt like, that, whatever. I'm like, these dudes are my age. I don't know. I'm acting like, yeah, me too, but no. Not knowing that everybody was there most of the time was acting. I ain't gonna hold you. There's probably one dude in there that probably really did it. But most of the part, it was all probably didn't. It was all ignorant. But we all acted, and I could say for myself, I acted like, oh man, yeah, I know what that felt like, man, yeah. Or I just sat around and listened. One thing about me, and I think it started with I don't like hearing from people's stories to get off, testimonies, how that person made it, how that person did it. Look at that person, I'm proud of that person. I ain't no hater, and I'm proud of people to be where they at. But I'm the type, I don't like looking at people. So one day I was home alone, and I was like, man, I was very focused, and I was very driven to ejaculate through masturbation, and I succeeded that day. I don't know. And the thing is, I talked to other dudes for a long time. I didn't know. The first one, it was painful. I ain't gonna hold you. Like when when I produced, and that was it. But that was my first time. Succeeded. It wasn't necessarily with a girl in the room. It was me by myself and no one to explain what I just experienced. It was my now getaway because I was bored. I was now in the woods and my mom worked hard, so she did what she had to do. Me, my sister, my brother. And we used to catch the bus. We had to walk down the street. And when we walked down the street to catch the bus, there was like 2 wild Rottweilers. They was loose all the time. But then my mom got to school to come get us and all that good stuff, whatever. So that's how it was a little remote until our neighbor came. When our neighbor came, our first neighbor, Spanish dude, Spanish family, real good guy, man. I love that guy. Taught me a whole lot. He came, he had like 4-wheelers, 3-wheelers, dirt bikes. He made cars. And this day, later on you'll hear me, the things he taught me how to change brakes, the things he just told me concerning what to do because your mom worked hard, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. He had a knife and he was a very legit solid cat. But being around him and his son and things of that nature, now he was around, I had life again. I wasn't bored. But one thing that happened was that was my getaway whenever I got bored, which could be communicated as some type of not anxiety, stress, because I was be so bored. I remember we used to be on the phone with my boy Charles. We call it Boo. Me, Boo, Octavius, Brandon, Dewan Groom. That was my homeboy that down the street in Farron. Even Kevin Pettit. Kevin was a white boy that lived down the street. He was cool too. But Charles was my number one. That was my best friend. And we'd be on the phone sometimes. Frank Stevenson. I grew up with him. That's when I moved. I missed him. I had a crush on his sister, Celia. And we used to be on the phone, man, talking about how bored we was and stuff like that. What got on our nerves or whatever the case, right? So that's what happened. So guess what when I was bored? Or guess what I did when I dealt with some type of, I didn't know what to do or stress and stuff like that, whatever. My neighbor went home all the time. My brother would be like, my brother would go MIA. We don't even know where he's at half the time looking for him. He may. Not knowing nothing to do with that. I had my cousin Herbie, Tony. We had family, but everybody was we was this young female cousins, munching them. We had fun when we was around each other, but when I was by myself, my mind automatically went there. And that was that case. And then finally, we had bikes, and my brother used to ride his bike back where we used to live at. And then I wanted to go with him. So I went with him at third round, right? And now I'm riding our bikes back to where we lived at. So that's something. So it slowed down on that situation. And but then my mom started dating somebody and DVDs came out. See you next week for part 2. But what I want to leave you with is you was exposed too soon. I don't care if you was 18, you was exposed to it. 16, 15. There is no level of maturity where porn does not affect you. I don't care if you're 25. You've been exposed to this thing. And what happens in your brain, especially your brain is developing. Guess what you're also doing? Is being trained. So one thing I had to do and I want you to do is to go back to where it started. This has this piece to the puzzle. Hope this piece give you peace. Peace.
First gaze, I forgot my worst days. It was Thursday, felt like my birthday. It was her day. Meet the man from Jersey.